Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soundbite. My name is Andrew, and today we're going to be jumping into a bit of Queensryche and checking out a song called "Eyes of the Stranger." Eyes of a Stranger, and we're going to be checking out the official music video along with it as well. But I'll be really just focusing on just the song and won't be paying too much attention to the video aspect of it. But I'm kind of just catering a little bit to some of your suggestions, and I remember putting up a poll recently about like what I should be doing, and a lot of people just said it's my channel and I should be doing whatever I want, which is true. But I kind of wanted to sort of cater to the audience a little bit because of the fact that the channel's kind of grown in a way that I never actually expected, and I kind of been going through this sort of interesting rabbit hole, and kind of I just want to see where it sort of goes, and it's been a sort of natural progression. So I want to take all the suggestions on board and sort of check it out. So I'll be doing some videos here and there, not all of them. I guess I'll be sort of picking and choosing. And I kind of feel like this song, I'll be getting a lot of people saying you should have done the video. So that's kind of what I'm getting from this a little bit. So this is what I'm going to be doing, checking out the video. But like I said, I'm going to be just focusing really more on the song and kind of just seeing what the song sort of brings. I honestly don't know if I've heard this song, Eyes of a Stranger. I know that it's one of the biggest songs from Queensryche, and I know I've done one reaction before from a previous song, which everyone was sort of saying that we should have checked out something else like this track. But that was actually made, that was a suggestion that was made by some people, so that's why I kind of checked that one out. But this one was also strongly suggested as well, and we'll give a shout out to Alan Gator 1914, who also suggested this one. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Queensryche, Eyes of a Stranger, official music video. I can't remember what album it's from. I think it's from the Operation Mindcrime album, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in the comments if that's definitely true. Because I think that was the other track that I did as well. It was off that same album. Actually, it was the title track. That's what I'm just remembering now. It was a little while ago. That's why I don't quite remember everything. But yeah, let's check this one out. Queensryche, Eyes of a Stranger. I also understand that like a lot of these songs will be taken out of context because it is obviously a conceptual album. But I don't really want to do an entire album all in one go. So maybe I'll do the entire album just sort of bit by bit, I guess, and we'll kind of go through a bit of a journey through that. But for now, I'm just kind of just selecting a few tracks. Definitely got a lot of the 80s vibe, obviously. That was always the thing with Queensryche to me, was they kind of, they definitely sort of had a lot of the 80s sort of vibe to them, I've got Jeff Tate's got hair there. I didn't kind of know him without the hair, obviously, from later on.
Reminds me of you. Every night the dreams return to haunt me.
So far seems like it's a bit of a sort of ballad type of song. I don't think I've heard this one before. See what people rave on about Jeff's vocals. He's definitely a great singer. And if you're into that kind of style, It's a very small gun. Yeah, it's interesting how there are some bands that you sort of you obviously heard of and you know of, they've obviously made a name for themselves, but for whatever reason you just never sort of went down that road of checking them out and stuff. And Queensryche was one of those bands. I just knew of them. I kind of sort of the only thing I knew about them was they were sort of part of that sort of prog world, but I guess some of the comments were saying that they're then a lot of the stuff is not necessarily in that sort of genre. Which is kind of surprising because I kind of, one of the few things that I know about them was that sort of prog side of the band. That's kind of why I was intrigued to check them out because I do love a lot of progressive rock and metal and stuff. So a lot of the technical stuff and things like that. But obviously, there's a different sort of progressive rock where the technicality is not so much the main sort of thing, but it's more about like um playing with the song structures and things like that, I guess, so but that's the general sort of thing that I always got from them. But obviously they have songs like this where it's kind of a sort of straight ahead sort of ballady type of song. And I guess especially at that time in the 80s, that was sort of like a big thing, and a lot of people loved that stuff. And I guess Queensrÿche kind of built their name around some of that stuff, especially with tracks like, Eyes of a Stranger. But yeah, Jeff Tate as well, like his vocals, obviously very clean sort of vocals, but obviously a powerful sort of voice. And I can see why people sort of name him as being one of the great singers of the sort of rock and metal sort of genres. And obviously he's gone on and done solo stuff and he still brings a crowd. And I guess that's because of his voice. He is a very talented person, clearly, I don't know really anyone else in the band, to be honest. Jeff Tate was the only person I kind of ever sort of heard in that band. But let me know in the comments if anyone else in the band kind of made a bit of a name for themselves as well outside of Queensryche. Because obviously Jeff Tate is done pretty well for himself outside the band, even though he has still kind of dipped his toes and stuff back into the Queensryche world a bit. So yeah, it's been interesting to sort of slow to get into the band for the first time. Considering they've been around for quite a long time as well.
And I raise my head and stare into the eyes of a stranger. I've always known that the mirror never lies. People always turn away from the eyes of a stranger. Afraid to know what lies behind the
For whatever reason, that guitar player or bass player reminds me of the one of the guys in Pearl Jam. He sort of had that same sort of look. Guitar player, not bass player, obviously.
How many times must I live this tragedy? How many more lies will they tell me? All I want is the same as everyone.
So clearly they're telling a bit of a story here, and I know people have sort of described what the actual concept of the album is, and it was a little while ago, so I've kind of forgotten a little bit about it, but I have to sort of read up on it again. But this obviously is a bit of a story kind of thing going on here with is this sort of like a fictional story, or was it based on sort of true events at all? Let me know if there's any sort of if it kind of feels like there's inspired by kind of like vibe coming from this. It sort of reminds me a little bit of Skid Row's what's a particular song? I forget what the name of the song is now, where that's actually based on some events of someone who ended up going to prison for some crime or something like that. But yeah, that's it's definitely I'm getting a vibe from that from this song, and particularly with the video, I guess. But so far, I'm liking the song. It's got that sort of like I said, 80s sort of vibe to it. But definitely the standout is Jeff Tate's voice for sure. I'm not really like sort of been drawn to a lot of the other instrumentation part of the song. It's really Jeff that's kind of been drawing me in. But I guess that makes sense. I guess a lot of people have probably done the same thing as well, and Jeff has been the reason why people like Queensryche. So there you go. I will say that drum set was pretty impressive. I do like really cool drum setups like that. Damn, we got another fade out. That's become a bit of a thing, I guess, on this channel. I kind of keep bringing it up because it happens quite often. I guess there's, not surprisingly, but I guess there is a lot of tracks from back in the day that did the fade out thing. Like I said, it was the thing to do. But yeah, there you go. Queensryche's "Eyes of a Stranger," pretty cool song. It's definitely got that sort of ballady sort of vibe to it, obviously. Which makes sense to some degree that they would do those kind of songs because of the fact that Jeff Tate can easily sort of pull a very sort of strong vocal performance. Because I definitely feel like if you're going to be doing a ballad, you've really got to have a strong sort of vocal to sort of do it really well, because usually those kind of songs, the vocals tend to be sort of the focal point in there, and the instrumentation kind of takes a little bit of a backseat. So that's why I think a lot of those bands, the ballad bands especially, kind of have really strong front singers, front men and women, because like I said, that's sort of like a big part of the song. Obviously bands like Skid Row and stuff like that do that really, really well. But there you go. That's interesting video, interesting song. So sort of dipping my toes a bit more into the Queensryche world. It's a bit of a sort of weird one to say actually, because it's got that Queen and then Reich. Um, yeah, what is that name, by the way? Queensryche. What is that? Let me know in the comments if you know anything about the actual name of the band, where that comes from. And the two little dots above the Y. Like, I always wonder there's a few bands that have done that, like Motley Crue obviously being one of the sort of more well-known ones, I guess. But yeah, there's because that tends to be more of a sort of a Scandinavian thing or something, or some sort of like Northern European kind of thing. So anyway, thank you for tuning in as always. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please subscribe. It does help the channel. Thank you for supporting all the videos that I've done so far. It's been an interesting ride, kind of going into different directions musically and stuff. Definitely getting out of my comfort zone for sure, which I'm really enjoying. Kind of discovering new music, old and new, so to speak. Obviously new to me, and interesting to see people sort of make some comments and tell their stories as well. I love hearing your stories about like how you got into a particular song or a band or whatever, and the first time you saw them live and things like that. I love hearing stories like that, so keep them coming. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.